Hello, guys, and welcome back to the podcast. This is Paint the Town Dead. I am one half of your host, Caitlin.
You're one half of Caitlin?
I am one half of your host, Caitlin. I said one half of your host.
You're saying host singular.
I am one half of your hosts. Hosts.
I don't know. It sounded singular the first time. So Caitlin is just half a person. That's fine. Her height reflects that. I got her.
Look at
another height
you.
joke. Look at me.
You're funny.
Taking down people with these really easy jabs. I'm like the human version of 2.5 Men with my terrible lazy jokes.
What a terrible show.
It really is bad. Anyway, I'm Andrew, by the way. I don't know if I said that.
Hello.
I know you didn't.
You
wouldn't.
You have the wherewithal to introduce yourself.
I just thought the host would do that. The person doing the introduction, I thought they would do the introductions. That's just all I thought. That's my bad. I'm sorry, Caitlin.
When have I ever introduced you?
I don't know. Probably. Don't make me go back and listen to every single episode to find out.
This is episode 48, and I maybe have introduced you.
Is it 48?
Yeah. Well, crap. I don't know. Now you got me second guessing.
I wrote 47 on the thing, so I'm wondering if you ruined this for us.
Oh no, did I? Well, hold on. We can look at this. Let's go to our Google Drive before we even do anything.
I'm going to the podcast site to see how many it is.
47 social. What is that?
Oh, I guess it must be that's a thing where I wrote a document for the Facebook posts and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I guess we have done 47. Okay, we're at 48.
Why
did I write 47?
Why did you?
I don't know, because I'm a failure.
This is why I'm in charge.
Just like with everything, I'm a failure. I did it again.
Oh my God,
shut up. I did it. Oh well.
Okay. You better?
You failed at doing the introduction, and I failed at writing a number. We're all failures. All of us.
All the time.
Just failing doesn't make you a failure, but I am.
Oh,
I am
starting
one.
off on such a positive note. I'm giving me all the warm fuzzies.
You better believe it. Well, I'm upset because you made me wait a long time, and also
sorry. I was like, "Hey, Andrew, come over at 5. It's 7:30."
Yeah, and also I could be watching the Royal Rumble right now. I have to watch it on delay. Ridiculous.
First world problems.
I didn't even get to watch it live last year. I remember. I was thinking about that.
What were you doing?
I think we were recording.
No, we weren't.
A podcast, yeah.
We couldn't have been. Not this time.
I guess not. I don't know what I was doing, but I didn't watch it live. I didn't watch the one before live either.
I bet I can guess.
What?
Nothing.
Okay. I'm trying to think. There was one. No, that was WrestleMania. I was in New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
Getting
having a good time.
Having a fun time.
With friends.
Yeah, I sure was.
Before COVID.
And I remember everything. Don't even worry about it.
Because it was fun. Grade A fun with my chops.
It was so much fun. I
got my nails done.
You did. And I haven't chewed my nails in over a week. They
look
gross
real
still.
Five. That was a high five, people.
Yeah. My nails still look gross, though, because of the way I destroyed them. Typically.
Just give them a little. It'll be fine. Yeah. Just give them a little bit.
Yeah, one of the things when we were in New Orleans, I was like, we got to find a store with drinks, the kind of store. And then I realized, oh, right. Like, whatever place I tried to find did not exist or something.
Huh.
Whatever it was. I don't know what the deal was. Then it was like, oh, right. We can just go to a grocery store. In Louisiana, they just sell, like, the good stuff in regular stores.
Not just, like, beer or wine. Like, hard stuff.
Yeah. The good stuff. The stuff you really want.
The stuff that makes you go, bleh.
The stuff that makes it to where you are...
you're having a good time in New Orleans.
You're having too much fun in New Orleans. New Orleans.
And they have an open... I think of that... You can drink out on the streets, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some places have laws where you can, like, do that in certain areas,
right?
Like Memphis with Beale Street,
yeah.
Or they've tried to get this done in Little Rock in the River Market, and it's never come through. Yeah. But I don't know.
Well,
I always think of that Simpsons song where it's just like, I forget what it's like. It compares New Orleans to the Sodom and Gomorrah of the Mississippi and all that stuff. It's really funny.
It's not wrong.
Yeah, it's the most American city, some would say.
Is it? Sounds very French to me.
It's the most American city. Because America is a boiling pot. of cultures and peoples.
Indeed. So we've got Florida, New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Because New Orleans, I mean, like Louisiana, Louisiana was founded by French settlers who traveled from Quebec up in Canada.
Oh, wow. And Florida was Spanish settlers.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Have you ever been to St. Augustine?
No.
Have we talked about this or something?
I don't think so.
Okay. It's pretty cool. It's the oldest settlement, American settlement.
Is it? Where is it?
It's Spanish. It was settled by the Spanish. Yeah. It's in St. Augustine, Florida. Okay.
Well, that's what I wanted. I was like, obviously it's called St. Augustine. That's like saying like...
I know. I was like, what do you mean, where is it?
Where is it? That's like if somebody was like, where is Los Angeles? It's in Los Angeles, idiot. What are you talking about?
It's on the coast of Florida somewhere. Don't ask me.
Which coast? It's a peninsula.
Well, it probably would be the East Coast, right?
Like where the Atlantic Ocean is and not the Gulf of Mexico.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. You're not very helpful.
I'll look it up for you right now if you want me to.
You can.
I literally drove there and I couldn't tell you exactly where it's at. It's on the coast.
What'd you do? Like just drive until you hit the ocean like Andy did on The Office in
pretty much,
one of the bad seasons?
Pretty much. It is on the East Coast. It's in very northern Florida, right on the coast. It's not far from Jacksonville.
Okay. That makes sense to me.
But it was really cool. I really liked going there. It was really historic. Got to go to the fort there and do the tour. It was awesome.
I like the sound of that. That's like I was talking to my dad about this the other day. How lame the Alamo is to go to these days.
Oh, really?
Just kind of like all of the walls and all the extra buildings that the Alamo was attached to and all this stuff is like not there. It's just the Alamo and it's like a museum. It's very sanitized. It's kind of lame. And I don't remember the name of it, but we went to like another mission that's been preserved as it was at that time.
Cool.
And it's so much cooler. Yeah, it's way more interesting. Yeah, I think it's time you take us to it.
All right. Sorry, we got caught up in history there. Okay, Andrew, this is a very special episode, and it's one I've been sitting on for a while. There's a lot of information about this case. It's overwhelming, the amount of information.
Did you add this to the list, or was it me?
Oh, you know what?
Because
I don't know. That's a
my
good
mother
question.
had suggested it at some point.
Then I bet it was you.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I took it from you.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Thanks, Cheryl. So it is, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. It is the case of Heath Carlton Stocks and Charles aka Jack Walls III, and their victims, plural. I'm going to go ahead and say I got I got a huge chunk of information from Heath Stocks website, and that is www.heathstocks.info/heathstocks.
You don't hear a lot of .info out there.
Yeah, that website is extensive. It has everything you need to know about this case. Court documents are uploaded on there, like literal like dates and what happened on that date, starting from when everything occurred. I mean, it's extensive. Wikipedia, scouting.org, and then there was a legal document that we had to have a little interpretation on. So anyway, you ready?
I'm ready. I was born ready.
Okay.
I guess. Maybe I wasn't. I've never been ready. You know what? I've never been ready for anything in my life, so just go for it. It's fine.
Let's just do it. Okay. So first, we're going to talk a lot about the Boy Scouts in this case, which may be triggering for some. But I just want to start out by saying, first and foremost, that I think the Boy Scouts of America is a good organization. I don't think it's in any way inherently bad. And I think it does aim to better people. They support the LGBTQ community, women's rights. They support Latino, Asian, and Black employees through specific programs and outreaches. They're now known as the Scouts because they now accept boys and girls of all ages. And I just want to read to you their foundational statements. The Scout Oath says, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight."
So this is where we all stole that thing where we would say Scout's honor for no reason.
That's right. And on my honor, yeah. The Scout Law says a Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. So, upstanding citizens all around. The the mission of the Boy Scouts of America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and the Scout Law.
And I'm happy to introduce this week's sponsor, the Boy Scouts of America.
Except it's not. We are not sponsored. Disclaimer, that was a joke.
That's right. We've never been sponsored by anything in our lives.
That's right. So you can be the first. Just let us know.
Boy Scouts of America, we're more than just boys now.
That's right.
That's the slogan.
That's right.
What a good ad read that was.
And we're everybody. So just to read that to you, to say, I mean, clearly this is not an organization that is evil. They aim to do good.
Debatable.
I'm not, like I said, the organization itself is not evil. They aim to do good things. Okay. When I think of Boy Scout, I think of Russell from Up.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
My friend Sean looks just like him.
I think of people knowing how to tie knots.
That too.
Or helping an old lady across the street, and they get a badge for that.
That's what Russell does, except it's the old man. He's like, hello, sir. Can I help you across the street?
Yeah. So that's kind of what I think of, I guess. Very... Yeah. I think of like...
They do good things to help
I don't know.
people.
There's probably like characters from like Andy Griffith who are Boy Scouts or something.
Probably
I don't
so,
know.
Yeah.
Superman. People call him a Boy Scout sometimes.
Exactly.
Except he's better than the Boy Scouts. Let's just say that.
I mean, he does have powers, and he's from a different planet.
And he's a better person than some of the Boy Scout people are.
Well,
just saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
All right. So let's talk about Heath. So Heath Stocks was born on November 12th, 1976. He was a young boy who grew up in Lonoke, Arkansas, which is some odd miles outside of Little Rock. We've been there before. I don't remember what case it was. Do you?
Not off my head, but it's in Lonoke County. A
Very
rarity
good,
in Arkansas.
Lonoke. Good job.
Where
So,
the town and county match up.
Yes, unlike Conway. And
or Searcy, or Hot Springs,
exactly.
Or Yellville, or Marion, or etc.
Okay. So, Heath was described as a rambunctious and unpredictable child, which most of us are. He, lived at home with his mother, Barbara, his father, Joe, and his sister, Heather, which I love that. Heath and Heather. How cute is that?
Hate it.
Okay. They were all described as good, simple, salt of the earth type folk. He had a good relationship with his sister and his mother and his nearby grandparents. Joe worked as a truck driver. He was often away. When he was home, he was kind of a strict disciplinarian, and he was known to be kind of harsh with Heath. Feeling that Heath needed some positive influence in his young life, Joe enrolled Heath in the Boy Scouts after the encouragement of community leader Jack Walls. And this was not a move that Heath was very excited about. He did not want to be in the Boy Scouts. But he kind of came around eventually and started liking it. It's kind of like when your mom signed you up for Awanas church or something.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Is that what it's called? Awanas?
I think so.
Kiwanis?
Awanas.
What am I thinking of? Are we thinking of the same thing?
I sure hope so.
Kiwanis, I think might be
That's not it.
a thing. Is that a different thing?
Maybe it's Kid Awanas. I don't even know exactly what it was. I have no I don't remember it at all. Kind of like, or when your mom was like, "Hey, you're gonna do gymnastics," and you're like, "I don't want to do gymnastics."
Yeah.
But anyways, but Heath came around. He ended up enjoying it. He was very active in the Boy Scouts, and he continued with Boy Scouts into his young adulthood. There's all sorts of levels of Boy Scouts. I don't know.
Green belt, yellow belt, white belt,
Close.
all the way up to black belt.
They have Cub Scouts for the little boys and the little girls, and it goes to I don't know. There's all sorts. There's levels, that you can obtain. And
yeah, I vaguely remember seeing.
Were you in Boy Scouts?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I remember they tried to recruit us at the school or something.
Of course they did,
gave us literature.
Yeah.
Little pamphlets hey, this is what.
Same thing for Girl Scouts.
This is what thing is with the Boy Scouts, and also some people get to have a thing that's for the Girl Scouts because this is before they allow girls into Boy Scouts or whatever.
Right, because we're old. All right, so a little background on our friend Jack here. So Jack was born into a well-off family. He was the son of an affluent attorney in Lonoke, who later became the county judge.
Don't trust any kids who are the children of lawyers.
Or judges. They're the worst.
Or just anybody who has a law degree, if they have a child, don't trust that child. Just saying.
100%
Just saying.
100% agree. So Jack married his high school sweetheart and would go on to have 3 daughters with her. He was a manager for a firearms and ammunition manufacturer. He was very well respected in the community, very connected, and he was an active leader of Boy Scout Troop 103 of Lonoke. He was known in the community to help boys with behavior problems. Like, that's kind of why boys joined Boy Scouts at the encouragement of Jack, was because they were having behavior problems. It's like, well, just send him to Jack. He'll straighten them out. They all turn out good afterwards. So he was such a pillar of the community. He was named Man of the Year of Lonoke County. I don't know what year it was, but it was sometime in like the 80s or something like that.
That's like winning, I don't know, best restaurant when you're the only restaurant in Ash Flat, Arkansas.
Except I think there's more than one man in Lonoke County.
Nah, there aren't that many. Not enough.
Sure.
I guess Cabot's there, so think about that. Cabot's in Lonoke County.
Probably a lot better people in Cabot. Not anymore though. Anyway, so by the time he turned 10, he was very, very active in Boy Scouts, and he was a very favored youth of Jack. So Heath, who craved the love and approval of this community pillar Jack, he made sure to do everything Jack asked of him. This ensured that Heath would stay in Jack's favor. So like he didn't have kind of a strained relationship with his dad, and so Jack was very much a father figure, and so he had craved that approval, and Jack would make time for him and spend time with him, and Jack would ask him to do things, and Heath made sure to do it to make sure he stayed in Jack's good favor. So unfortunately for Heath, though, some of the things Jack asked of Heath included sexual favors, and at one Boy Scout camp, at one point, Jack raped Heath, which put Heath, that was kind of the invitation to be a part of the exclusive Order of the Arrow, which was an accumulation of all of Jack's favored boys, each of them subjected to sexual abuse at the hands of their leader. So with acceptance into the Order of the Arrow came perks along with the pain. The boys were given alcohol, porn, explosives, free reign of firearms, and a relationship with a man that they looked up to because he, quote, understood them. He was their father figure. He would make time for them. And I read somewhere where he had a lot of property, and he would invite them out and give them basically homemade bombs, and they just blow crap up. You know, what boy doesn't want to blow crap up? And Jack was all there having fun with them, but then at the same time, he's abusing all of them and everything.
Yeah, that sounds like when I was shooting off fireworks in rural Arkansas, and we would just take bottle rockets, light them, and then we'd throw them.
Yeah.
And they would shoot into the creek, or hopefully somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just hopefully not at us, because there was a bottle rocket.
But I mean,
that was psychotic and not a good thing to do. No. That was so dangerous.
But it's they got to do all the boy stuff. They got to shoot things. They got to play with explosives. They got porn. They got alcohol. I mean, and this guy who was their cool older brother, almost their cool dad. So, and this was, all of these boys kind of had behavioral type problems. So it's this relationship that they craved with a father figure. So Jack excelled at exploiting this role model relationship he had with his chosen boys, and he would pit the boys against their families. So even though Jack was supposed to be the community pillar that was supposed to be helping in them and healing them. So I read somewhere where he would invite the order out to his house, and they would have these Boy Scout campouts, not sanctioned Boy Scout campouts, because that is a conflict of interest, by the way. So he would have these Boy Scout campouts, and they would all sit around the fire, and he'd be like, tell me what's on your mind. Tell me what's bothering you. Tell me what you want, what's hurting you. And he would keep really detailed journal entries, and then he would kind of use that information to exploit the boys. I mean, he knew their deepest, darkest secrets and feelings, and he would use that to he would just be the little devil whispering in their ear. Being well, your dad doesn't love you. I love you more than your dad does, because I do all this stuff for you. So he kind of made the relationships worse between the boys and their families.
It's almost like a mini cult.
Exactly. I want to talk about that, and that's exactly the thought I had, Andrew.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that later.
Cool.
So when Heath was 13, he suffered sexual abuse from another adult in his life, his dance instructor. So who did Heath turn to about the abuse? of course, it was Jack. He confided that information in Jack. And so, again, that goes down in Jack's notebook, and he can use that pain against, to control Heath. So, in 1992, when Heath was around 16, accusations came against Jack from another scout named Doug. Doug was the same age as Heath. And this accusation was that Jack had molested him at a Boy Scout camp event on Jack's property. And like I said, just to be clear, the little campouts at Jack's house were not Boy Scout sanctioned events. These were a conflict of interest and not okay. And it was just Jack and a bunch of boys, and there should be other adult leaders there with them. So Jack, of course, vehemently denied these claims that Doug brought against him. And he was like, no, I'm a great community leader. I have this great position at a local Baptist church. I'm a deacon. My dad's a judge. I come from a great family. I would never do such a thing. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, the sort of thing where you're like, look at me. I have a place of power. I would definitely not abuse it.
Exactly.
That's proof I didn't do it. The fact that I have this position of power.
It's like, that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. Especially, maybe we didn't know as much. It was 1992. We probably weren't as privy to these things in the way that you and I are now.
Yeah.
Where every single time it is something like that. It's like, when you talk about people being abused or whatever, it is almost always, it's not like some guy wearing a mop on his head and pretending to be a woman and sneaking to a women's restroom or whatever.
No.
It's not that. It is it's somebody who is
it's probably a family friend.
It's a family friend. It's a family member. Yeah. It's a pastor or whatever. Yeah. Is somebody who is trusted.
Exactly.
That's how they get away with it.
Exactly. And we're going to talk about that too. So along with kind of touting his golden reputation, Jack also talked his totally brainwashed Order of the Arrow boys into defending him, as well as threatening the other boy and his family, the Hogans. So at Jack's beckoning, the boys vandalized, harassed, assaulted, and stalked the accusing boy and his family. And to ensure that the Order of the Arrow boys were on his side and would not give him away, Jack threatened them with, quote, unspeakable shame, bodily harm, and even death. And like, I did read in like a report somewhere, it was like he would make them go onto his property, dig a giant hole, and he would make them look over it. And he would like say like, this is your grave. If you say anything, I will kill you and I will put you in here and nobody will find you or believe anything. So it's like, and he would look at them and say, who they're going to believe, you or me, and it's just like awful things. So I think the order of events here are very telling. So this is kind of detailed, but I want to go over them. And this is with Doug, the boy who said that Jack had assaulted him. So I want to go over it. So December 30th, 1992, Cletus, who is Doug's dad, Cletus contacted Jack and demanded his immediate resignation from scouting. Mrs. McConnell, I'm not sure who that is, reported the incident to the Department of Human Services Child Abuse Hotline and to the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office. Exactly what should have been done. So the next day, Jack wrote a letter of apology to the Hogans. Quote, there is a great amount of trust placed in a man who works with young people as I did, and I violated it. I'm ashamed of this as I have let everyone down from the scouts through my own family, and now it's up to me to change my life. Barf. January 4th, 1993, Cletus Hogan reports this incident to Jeffrey A. Herman, an executive with the Boy Scouts Quapaw Area Council, who's in charge of the Arkansas Scouting. The next day, Herman notified Walls by letter that the organization was, quote, revoking and severing their relationship with Jack. Within a 2-week period, the Boy Scouts notified DHS on 3 separate occasions. Some law act, blah, 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 required a complete investigation within 30 days. The investigator, Ken Murphy, took no action until May 26, 1994. 6 complaints and 147 days later. A total lack of due diligence there. Without determination, the investigation was turned over to Larry Cook, who is the prosecuting attorney of Lonoke County. So June 1st, we're into the next year, the next summer. June 1st, 1993, Jim Rainbolt, who is a criminal investigator with the Arkansas State Police, interviewed Doug Hogan, the accusing boy, but labeled the case file as, quote, false imprisonment investigation. This was because when Doug tried to leave that camp that night, Jack went in there and took the keys from his vehicle so he couldn't get away, so he couldn't escape. So, and it was like Doug and two of his other scout friends were there. So he was stuck there. So July 28th, Rainbolt interviewed Jack, who claimed he, quote, only hit Hogan on the belt buckle with the back of his hand, which is like, okay, sure. 3 weeks later, Rainbolt interviewed Mark McConnell and Chris Houchins, who both say Walls admitted that night he solicited sex from Doug Hogan, and no other interviews took place. So those were Mark McConnell and Chris Houchins were the two boys that were with Doug Hogan. Those are his two other scout friends. On October 8th, 1993, Rainbolt closed his investigation and stated that Larry Cook, quote, determined that the actions of the suspect in this case do not constitute a crime. And it's like, I'm sorry, what? You have three people telling you the same story? So November 18th, the next month, Cletus Hogan persuades municipal judge Gary Rogers of Carlisle to sign 2 warrants against Jack Walls on charges of contributing to the delinquency of a minor and third-degree assault with misdemeanors, because Jack had like alcohol and stuff there for the boy and firearms and stuff for the boys. So they could prove that Walls is arrested on these charges. After discussing the matter with Rainbolt, Ken Murphy determined that no abuse took place nor intended, and close his file on the case. And it's like, are you kidding me? So a copy of this confidential DHS file was released to a person listed only as Walls. This file has never been accounted or recovered. So it's like, are you kidding me? They released it to the one person who should not have ever seen it or had it. So April 8th, 1994, during a 3-hour trial, character witnesses, including former state representative Bill Fletcher and other pillars of the community, and boy after boy testified on behalf of Walls. His whole order came up, and their whole, like the order of the arrow, their whole thing was protect Jack. Where Jack's our guy. We're behind him. So, anyways, it was revealed that Walls was sexually assaulting these boys, one of whom said, quote, I was told if I didn't testify for him, I would end up dead. Walls was found innocent of the charges. However, Judge Rogers was not satisfied and said, I personally believe that there may be other charges that may have been filed, but weren't. I'm not making any determination on whether there were any sexual advances or not. That again was not before the court. So it's like, the judge was like, I think you could have been charged with something else, but I can't.
Maybe if like the detective or whoever
or the other boys had come forward,
better job. Yeah.
Yes. So in 1999, Ken Murphy was fired for basically lying, and he was the guy that was like, he's innocent, So many members of the Lonoke community hated the Hogans for coming forth, stating that they believed that the Hogans were only after Jack's money.
Do you know if there was ever a civil suit filed?
I don't know about that.
Okay. Because if not, then you're not going to get any money then.
Probably not. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So probably not. You
don't get money generally from a criminal
trial. Yeah.
That's not how that generally works, as far as I know.
Yeah.
That's a do they go to the jail or not type of situation, not a
profitable situation.
Damages.
Yeah. So through Heath's high school career, he spent time with the Scouts, Jack, and the Order of the Arrow. With all the time spent under Jack's control, a greater and greater rift was made between Heath and his father. And there was just a lot of tension in the house. Heath was always angry. He was always sad. And his family just could not figure out why, because they're like, Jack's supposed to be helping. So outwardly, Heath was just kind of like an average high school student. He was a great football player. He was a devoted scout. And it was just kind of a facade for everything he held inside of him. The harassment of the Hogans continued, with Heath and the Order allegedly being trained to be, quote, assassins for Jack, which is very culty. But Heath would end up graduating from high school and move away for college, but distance did very little to lessen the grip that Jack had on Heath. And when Heath wanted to go on a date or date a girl or something, he would have to go to Jack and approve it, which is again very culty. So
yeah, I don't even ask my parents, is it okay if I date this girl? Not that I date very often, but I don't
exactly,
go
because
is it okay?
It's not normal.
Right.
So Jack's
I'm an adult technically.
Yes. Only technically.
I'm basically a child.
So Jack's hold was very tight on Heath and the rest of the Order. So things.
Where did he go to college at?
I'm going to guess Arkadelphia, and we'll get to why, but I'm not sure. Okay. What college is in Arkadelphia?
There's 2.
Washita
Baptist and Henderson State are both there.
Okay.
And they're literally across the street from each other.
Oh, yeah, they are.
It's like a big football rivalry, and they dress in their own locker rooms for the game.
Oh, that's weird.
At the other campuses. Yeah, it's kind of fun, though.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So we're into like 1997, and this would put Heath at about 20 years old. Maybe like, what is that, like sophomore year-ish? Sophomore, junior year?
Yeah, sophomore or junior.
Yeah.
Potentially senior, depending.
Yeah.
I guess.
So
it could be many things.
Yeah. Typically,
because you go to college typically when you're 18, that would be your freshman year, but it just depends sometimes on like where your birthday lands and all that. So,
well, Heath was born in, what did I say? November. So he'd been 21 that year. So it's probably junior. He's probably sophomore going into junior. Okay. So again, one weekend, Heath came back from college to visit with his family. This is January 97. While home, he, of course, had a visit with Jack. Jack came to Heath's house, and somehow or another, the two ended up in Heath's bedroom. And that's when Barbara, Heath's mom, walked in on Jack sexually assaulting Heath. And Barbara was absolutely appalled at what she had witnessed. Barbara didn't confront Heath about it, but he eventually came to her and to his sister Heather. He finally was able to tell them everything that had happened to him at the hands of Jack, and that had been happening for over a decade. So Barbara had no idea that Heath had been suffering like this. Absolutely no idea. But it did answer a lot of questions to her about why he was so angry and sad growing up. So seeking counsel, she met with her pastor. She also told her mother of what had been happening. She did not, however, report anything to the authorities in fear of retaliation from Jack with his influence and clout. So just side note here, by the way, pastors are mandatory reporters in Arkansas, and the pastor did not report anything. So a failure right there. Heath also felt he had to come clean. He told Jack that he had admitted everything to his mom, which he said was the, quote, greatest mistake of his life. Jack was livid, absolutely beside himself with rage. It felt to Jack as if he was losing control over one of his orders, and something that was just absolutely unacceptable to him. Jack knew that the knowledge was out and that the only thing left for Heath to do was to, quote, kill the problem, a mantra often repeated within Jack's order. Jack's protection was paramount. It was the ultimate goal for the order. And his little facade, his wall had been punctured, or there was a crack in the wall, and he could not have that. He had to have it repaired. So 9 days after confessing everything to his mother and his sister, he sat at home just absolutely torn and spiraling. Heath had ransacked his house to make it look like a burglar came through. In his hand was a .45 caliber gun he had found in the house, and his thoughts quickly turned to suicide. You see, Jack had instructed Heath to, again, kill the problem, meaning to permanently silence the people that knew, his mother and sister. While Heath did not want to do this, he knew his ultimate goal was Jack's protection, and he had to do what needed to be done. That evening, sitting in wait, Heath heard his sister arrive home, and he made the decision. He shot his sister and killed her. 5 minutes later, his mother and father came home, and he mercilessly took their lives as well. Heath had taken care of the problem for Jack, with Jack's urging and assistance. He fled the scene, headed to Arkadelphia. That's what made me think he went to college in Arkadelphia, because he headed that way afterwards. Along the way, he dumped the things that he had taken from the ransacking, including the .45 caliber gun. So all the stuff that he took from his own house on his way to Arkadelphia, he dropped it out the window. So at 6 a.m. the following morning, Heath was found. He was arrested at a friend's apartment while he was asleep on the couch, following a statewide alert for his capture. He was transported to Lonoke County and charged with 3 counts of capital murder.
So why were they suspecting him? They know, I guess, that he was in town. He just...
Can I be honest?
Yes.
I think it was Jack.
Oh.
I don't know. I assume it's because he was the most likely suspect, because he was missing and he should have been at home. But I think Jack probably had a little bug to put in some people's ears.
I gotcha.
So After his arrest, Heath was taken into custody and questioned. Investigators just could not understand the reasoning behind the murders. Like, Heath was not the kind of person to do this. And that was until Heath kind of exposed everything. He told them everything, including the years of abuse from Jack. So at Jack's beckoning, and with Jack's promise of immunity and a good legal counsel due to his father being a judge and like, you know, they're going to tweak it for him, Heath went ahead and pled guilty to all 3 murders. With this guilty plea, there would be no evidence saved and no trial. So Jack was ready, though, just in case Heath pled not guilty. He gave himself an alibi for his fingerprints being at the scene, as he was the one allowed to secure the scene. So, miscarriage right there. So, I mean, that's why I think that Jack was probably involved with the murder. There was nothing concrete, but why else would he be there to secure the scene? Why else would he secure it, you know? Anyway.
Yeah, it seems like somebody else should be involved in that, not this rando.
A community leader.
Yeah.
So Heath's sentencing eventually came down, and he got 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole. And Jack was nowhere to be found. Jack did not come to Heath's aid and help him out like he promised. That was it. He was arrested, tried, convicted.
Yeah, that's how it goes when you follow people who are using you. Yeah. I mean, it's the same as
don't do it.
I'm going to be careful here. I'm not going to be too careful. I'll be short. But the people who stormed the Capitol and got arrested, and they all thought Donnie's he's gonna pardon us. He didn't.
Clearly not.
He didn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about you.
Again, we talk about mind control and culty situations. So, but Heath's confession led investigators onto a different avenue, the life and lies of Jack Walls, and an investigation into his heinous crimes ensued. So the summer of 97, this is like a few months after Heath's family was murdered at his and likely Jack's hands, and 4 months after Heath's sentencing, things started to turn even farther south for Jack. At gunpoint, Jack's own nephew, Wade, led Jack to his parents' house and made Jack confess to everything he had done to Hannah's brother. Jack had spent years raping his own nephews. And Jack also confessed to the rapes of many other Boy Scouts and young men in the community, including Heath. And I read somewhere where it estimated he had between 100 and 150 victims. So Wade's family struggled with what to do next. They didn't want Jack's wife and family to hurt because they're innocent in all this. Like, his wife and daughter are innocent in all this. So they considered letting Jack kind of like check him to himself into a mental health unit. But ultimately, they decided on justice, and they called DHS and reported the abuse, and a full-scale investigation ensued, unlike with the 1992 report. So the investigation into Jack continued. He was arrested and tried. He was initially only convicted of 2 counts of rape. It's like, okay. But after some heat for not filing more charges, that prosecuting attorney removed himself, saying he had an ongoing professional relationship with Jack's dad and he couldn't do that. So a new special prosecuting attorney, Betty Dickey, who I like, was assigned to the case. Jack was finally charged with 6 counts of rape, 2 counts of violating a minor in the first degree, and 2 counts of solicitation to murder. And that was due to him requesting the murder of Cletus and Doug Hogan whenever Doug came forward with all that in 1992. The low number of rape charges was only due to the statute of limitations running out.
That seems like one that I guess it's kind of surprising that there is a statute of limitations on, but I don't know
if it's still the case, but back then it was.
Yeah, there's like a whole episode of Law and Order SVU where they're like, we need to solve these cases because the statute of limitations is coming up.
Which is, I think the statute of limitations is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you murdered somebody, you should be able to...
Murder doesn't have statute of limitation.
Okay.
Just to be clear, there are some things that do not have statutes of limitations, and rape seems like it should be one of those.
Exactly. Violent crimes.
Yeah. But, like, whatever. The other stuff does.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is, like, if they didn't commit any more crimes, they shouldn't have to look over their shoulder for forever or whatever.
Yes, they should.
But I think rape is where I'm like, you should.
You definitely should. 100%.
If it's like, I don't know, if they're trying to get you for that time you went jaywalking, that's one thing. But
or even like you had a little pot who cares?
Yeah, like
But rape?
drug charges or whatever. Yeah, like
rape? No, that should not have a statute of limitations.
Especially because there's so many instances of people, they don't just rape the one time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it escalates.
And a lot of victims aren't going to be like, this happened this afternoon and I'm coming to report it. They have to they mentally cannot handle what just happened to them. And they have to kind of cope. And then 10 years later, they come forward and are like, this happened to me.
Yeah.
So statute of limitations on rape? No. Disagree.
Yeah, that's one where I don't think you should have
Definitely
a statute. Not. But I know murder for sure does not have a statute of limitation.
That's good to know. So in the investigations, some of the evidence, get this, that came forward were pornographic books, of course, books titled, these are gross, The Scoutmaster's Wife, Boy Scout Mother, Female Animal, and Confessions of Slippery Jack, as well as a copy of the state's criminal code for sexual offenders, a stolen gun, and gross, a semen-stained attic, which is appalling. So in 1998, Jack pled guilty to 5 counts of rape and no contest to the rape of Heath. Investigators believe he entered that specific plea in the case of Heath as it would save an investigation, because he was worried that if there was an investigation that came through, it could have led to him being convicted for murder. They think that. And it's like, well, duh, of course. So the other charges were dropped in the plea deal. So the solicitation to murder, those were dropped. Jack was sentenced to 4 life terms plus 2 40-year terms served concurrently. And this was eventually reduced to 3 life terms plus 3 40-year terms after a biased statement made by the judge after sentencing. The statement, which I like, made by Judge Lance Hanshaw was this, quote, "I do not have to believe Heath Stocks' testimony to know that he was your finest creation and perhaps your most vulnerable victim, and to know he became what you taught him to be. I only know that, in the very least, you are indirectly responsible for the deaths of Joe, Barbara, and Heather Stocks." End quote. And it's like, that just gave me chills, because 100%. Sure, it was a biased statement, whatever, but I'm really glad he said that. So hats off to you, Lance Hanshaw. So there have been so many people calling for a trial for Heath and or for his release from prison. He never got a trial. He pled guilty, so no trial ever ensued. And I have mixed feelings about this.
I have one feeling, which is, I have mixed feelings, but mostly not very mixed. It's very much like mixing water and oil. It is not.
What do you think?
I think he should be in prison. I get that the bad things happened and all that, but I can't trust somebody who killed 3 people who were all his family to just be out there or to be anywhere other than prison. But
then you have like you said, it's cult mindset. He was totally brainwashed.
It is, but...
And he was also, his entire childhood, he was being molested by this guy.
And that's bad, but at the same time, you can't have that person out on the streets.
It's true.
If you ask me.
And he murdered his mom, his dad, and his sister, his whole family.
I feel for him.
Yeah.
But no.
I don't know.
You stay in prison.
At least a trial.
I don't want the knowledge of that person being out about.
There are people that commit worse crimes that are, maybe not worse, but there are people that commit equal crimes that are out and about living in the world. It's like...
Sometimes, yeah. Serial killers don't get caught sometimes, but
no, but people that are caught and then released.
Yeah, and that's a very controversial thing. Yeah. That's not exactly something that people are like. And you're not going to get 90% of people being like, yes, this is good and a good thing to do.
I don't know, and so that's why I have I am very conflicted, because it's like, would I want Heath living next door to me? No. Could I trust him? I don't think so.
I wouldn't want him living in the same state, even if I lived in a big state like Alaska, where there could potentially be way more room between us.
Yeah, but it's like...
And he's more likely to be attacked and eaten by a bear than to kill me.
Would he have committed those crimes if Jack was not in his life?
No, but that's also the same reasoning used by people who try and defend Timothy McVeigh, where they're like, oh, he was a patsy, and he was he was a patsy because he wasn't really behind it. Somebody else pushed him to do it. And it's like, well, you know what? If somebody was like, hey, do you want to like attack the capital of Michigan and murder the governor? I would be like, no, what are you doing?
But you're also not brainwashed. You also have a good mindset.
Yeah, but that's still like you're opening up a real can of worms there.
It's a whole can of worms right here. This is a very delicate case.
I don't want that person out and about. Plain and simple.
But if Jack's not in his life, like, you know,
I mean, the same thing can be said for a lot of things though. Like if this one thing doesn't happen, then maybe this doesn't happen. So
where does it end?
Yeah. So I would he definitely did murder his mother and father and sister.
100%.
So no, he stays in prison as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the Manson people were all brainwashed too, and most of them ended up in prison.
Yeah.
And Manson didn't even pull the trigger, and he ended up in prison too.
Yes, he did.
So,
and that's a good thing about Jack. Jack also, he is the Manson, and he also ended up in prison.
Yeah, they should both be in prison. Like I feel for Heath. I feel for the things that happened to him.
Yeah.
But you can't convince me that he should be out and about.
I would like to hear for listeners what you guys think. Like, it's such a delicate case. Like, where does it end? What is justice in this? You know, like, anyway, so I would like to hear from you guys. See what you think. Message us. On September 20th, 2017, he filed a motion pro se with the trial court requesting their reinvestment into this 1997 case, which resulted in a conviction. The last update I see on this was from October 24th, 2019. And basically, from what I gather, and per a very smart judge that we know, the court denied his pro se motion. The appeal was denied in 2019, but there's still ongoing stuff. He has a whole rally behind him. He has been featured in multiple documentaries and show series, including an episode of 2020 and 1999 with Barbara Walters. There have been so many other ones, but anyways, that was a big one. Wade, Jack's nephew that held him at gunpoint and made him confess, he committed suicide after years of struggling with the sexual and psychological abuse inflicted upon him. His parents have opened an organization in his name called the Wade Knox Child Advocacy Center in Lonoke, in the hopes that children such as Heath and Wade can find a safe haven and receive the support they need so they don't make the same mistakes. So, and that is the very devastating case of Heath and Jack and all of their victims. Kind of a heavy one.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew. What are you looking at?
I've been looking at so many things.
Let me
actually,
guess.
for once.
Wait, can I guess?
I'll allow it.
Star Wars.
You son of a... How'd you know?
Also, wrestling.
How many... Here, I haven't been... Well, I did watch SmackDown.
I'm moving this remote.
Night,
I'm sorry.
It was bad.
I said remote. I'm moving my microphone. Hold on.
Why are you doing this? Oh, God.
Because I'm kicked back. Okay, go ahead.
Here's the real question.
I'm ready.
How many Star Wars?
Oh, crap.
How many Star Warses are on here?
Oh, God. I don't like that.
That's the real guess.
Oh, crap. I don't know. Tell me. Just do it.
It's 3. There's 3 Star Warses.
Quite a bit.
So I jumped back on Star Wars Rebels. I'm on the final season, jumping through that real quick. I saw the episode where Sabine gives the Darksaber to Bo-Katan, so that's exciting, which Bo-Katan's eventually going to lose it, as we know, because we've all seen The Mandalorian. I am still listening to the audiobook of the second Thrawn book. Mm-hmm. It is called Dark Force Rising. And then I finished Light of the Jedi, that book that is a Star Wars book. It takes place like 200 years before the prequels, I believe.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. It's really good.
Cool.
I love the way they describe the Jedi and the things they do. For instance, like there's one character named Avar Kriss, and it's like they describe how they see the Force, like how they feel it and stuff. So like Kriss, her thing is like she sees it like it's like a song. And so it's like kind of a cool descriptor. Or like Elzar Mann, he sees it as a boundless sea and all this other stuff. It's really cool.
Weird.
They did a cool thing in there as well. that I've been thinking they should do since I watched Gundam. So in Gundam, I'm going to try and do this as quick as I can. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best.
Oh, God.
So in Gundam, the original Gundam stuff, there are psychics called new types. And so basically Gundam, it's giant robots. They're big old robots, and it holds a gun, and it shoots. You get it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and they're piloted by a person. And the new types...
there's persons in them?
There's a person in them.
So it's... What is...
They're called mobile suits.
Huh. It's kind of like... Power Rangers.
Like Power Rangers or like, what's that movie? Pacific Rim.
Oh, yeah.
Except they use like controls. It's not well, in G Gundam, it's a suit where it follows you. Anyway, you're distracting me because I could talk about this forever.
Boy, don't I know.
Yes. So like they have new types who are basically space psychics, and they use a system called the Psychomu system. And with it, they can control like, they're called bits, but they're basically like other guns that just float around them, and they can go out into other places. So it's like they could be standing in the spot, and the bit is off somewhere else and can shoot somebody in the back without them even knowing it.
Weird.
Because they're psychics. And I thought, wouldn't that be a cool thing for a Jedi to be able to do? They don't quite do that. But the ships they have in Light of the Jedi, they have greater control over them using the Force. Mm-hmm. And there's a part where a character actually flies 2 ships at once.
What?
Using the Force, which is pretty cool. But I think they should steal that idea from Gundam and use it in a Jedi thing. Also, but yeah, Light of the Jedi, I think it's fantastic. Check it out. It's the first book of the new things. It's really good. I just want to point out, I mentioned fantasy, like how weird names are reading books. Mm-hmm. First of all, Dark Force Rising, and also the book before it. I like that whenever Lando is speaking, when they say Han, they say it Han, the way Lando does. Well, Lando says it Han in the movies.
Oh.
So it's like, that's a fun little touch. But most of all, I learned that audiobooks maybe are wrong sometimes, because
I've wondered that. The
audiobook for Light of the Jedi, the person reading it says this guy's name, Marchion, which is how I would have pronounced it. That would have been my guess. Mm-hmm. The author, in an interview, said Marchion. Oh. So it's like, which one is right? Probably the author, because he created the character of Marchion.
That's like, J.K. Rowling said that it's Voldemort.
Instead of Voldemort.
Not Voldemort. And
did they say Voldemort in the movies?
I think so.
For some reason, I was thinking, I was like, I heard Voldemort at some point, but I don't know.
You might have.
Maybe from like a podcast or something.
But in the audiobooks, they say Voldemort. Yeah,
I wonder if because the video I watched where they mentioned that, they also mentioned like another Star Wars author had said like the audiobook person pronounced something else wrong, different. I don't know what it was though. Seems like the author should be more involved in that thing. I don't know.
No kidding. You'd think so.
But now, like, I've been like working in my brain, like, I guess it's Marchion and not Marchion, but whatever. I gotta remember that because the next book comes out in June.
Your birthday.
My birthday is in June. It comes out after my birthday, but
that sucks.
Yeah, it's fine.
Well, that was Super Nerd Corner with Andrew.
And I did it as quick as I could.
You did good.
Man, I threw a bunch out at you,
You
though.
did.
I hope you all were taking notes.
Because there will be a quiz at the end.
That's right. What was the thing that new types used?
Gundam.
Anybody can use a Gundam. Well, unless it's Gundam Seed, in which case you have to be a coordinator to use a Gundam. But don't even worry about it. Let's move on.
Oh, my God. Too much.
Gundam Seed's not good anyway. So
good.
Who cares?
Oh, good.
You do a thing. I've got like 2 more.
Okay. I watched that new movie on HBO that dropped Friday. Denzel Washington, that weirdo Jared Leto.
Is Rami Malek in it?
And Rami Malek.
Or Rami, however you say his name.
Yes, Rami Malek. Yes.
Okay.
He is in it. My star rating on it.
Out of how many stars?
Let's do 5, because that's normally what they do.
Yeah.
I'd say 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5?
3 out of 5.
So like average.
Yeah, it was okay.
Like you liked on Goodreads. Using Goodreads as an example, if you hover over the 3, it says I liked this.
I would not watch it again.
So do you want to go down to a 2 by the Goodreads standards?
Well, is 2 you wouldn't watch it again? You wouldn't read it again?
Yeah, 2 is like Queen's Shadow, I gave that a 2. I was like, I didn't care for this. Whereas
I mean,
3 is like,
how about a 2.5?
I generally enjoyed it. Okay, yeah. You can't do halves on Goodreads. And we're not using Goodreads. We are not Goodreads.
Yeah, we are.
So yeah, you can do whatever you want. So 2.5, which is exactly halfway through. That's exactly average.
Yeah, it was okay. It was not terrible. It was not great. Would I watch it again? No.
I guess I got to mention, that's like a mystery thriller thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like gritty cop. Of course, Denzel Washington plays a gritty cop that mumbles. And
did you have to watch it with subtitles?
No, I turned it up. And Jared,
I have to watch everything with subtitles these days. Like I just can't, especially when it's like weird fantasy stuff, like Witcher.
It wasn't weird fantasy, but Denzel Washington mumbled. Jared Leto was a creep, of course. He played a weird creep.
So he played himself.
He played himself, yes.
That's cool.
He was super yucky looking in that movie.
He seems like the worst. Like, doesn't he have like basically a sex cult somewhere?
What?
Yeah, like he was, when all this COVID stuff was first starting, he didn't know about it because he was off on like an island.
With his sex cult?
With his it sounds a lot like a sex cult. Yeah.
What? I had no idea.
Yeah, he seems like the worst.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a weirdo.
Think of
30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah. I used to like 30 Seconds to Mars a real bunch. That first album was really good, as I recall. Or at least I thought it was. I haven't listened to it in a long time.
Was he the lead singer?
He was a part of it.
I don't think he was the lead singer.
He was a part of the
band,
though,
in some
guitar.
Yeah, and his brother was a part of it, too.
But he was all like, don't promote that I'm a part of the band, because he wanted it to succeed on its own, but it's still like, you still have the connection.
Shut up.
But like, I always think of Suicide Squad, where he was the worst Joker, but specifically the behind the scenes.
Cast,
the behind the scenes stuff where it's like, he sent used condoms to the castmates, and it's like, yes, my favorite Joker story from reading Batman stuff is when he sent used condoms. No, that's not the Joker. That's just, you're being a weirdo.
Yeah, he's just a weird, but Denzel, I did read somewhere, Denzel Washington was like, no, he did not do any of that during our filming. If he did, it would have quickly ended.
And so like, Denzel was like, I made sure.
Yeah, basically.
I went to his house.
He said, honestly, it was good working with Rami Malek, and with Jared. Yeah. He said it was, Denzel said that was good. And it was, as much as I don't like Jared, he's a method actor, and he does good at his method acting, whatever. And then Rami Malek, he's a great actor. He's cool.
He's weird looking.
He's unique.
Am I
looking.
right?
He's very unique looking. He's not unattractive. He's not unattractive though.
I mean, people can. I say weird looking. That's mean, but yeah, like
he's very unique looking.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like
and there's two of them because he has an identical twin brother.
Oh man,
can you believe that?
It's like Tron Legacy where they had two Jeff Bridgeses.
Yes, they did. CGI Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
but and Denzel Washington, of course, is a good actor. We all know that. But it
sounds like he wasn't Mr. Mumbles over there.
He plays the same guy in every movie now. He can do that and get paid, so why not?
So like Bruce Willis being all those like straight to DVD,
Die Hard
VOD,
dude.
I guess now movies.
But it was just an okay movie. Like it was slow and it stayed slow. Even at the last 5 minutes, it still was like, oh, that's the ending. That's how it's gonna end. Okie dokie then. I guess we're there. And then Rami just did not fit that role very well. He tried to play gritty cop too, and that was not for Mr. Freddie Mercury, which he was phenomenal at. It was just
I think
gritty
of him
cop
as
was the robot guy.
Yeah, weird computer guy who's addicted to opioids. Oh,
good for him.
Yeah, I haven't even watched the whole first season, but anyway, that show seems okay. I don't know.
So anyways, the little things on HBO Max. I was
about to ask. I was like, is that one of the HBO Max releases?
Yes, it was an HBO Max release.
You know what HBO Max? So first of all, I messed up. Wonder Woman's off of it now, so I didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm excited about on there?
Tell me.
I'll give you two guesses.
What?
Do you know what else is coming out on there?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, the thing I was thinking of, first of all, I'm going to say a thing I would have thought you would have guessed.
Oh, what?
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah.
Because, well, yeah, but think of who am I?
That's true.
Who am I? I'm the guy who, when I last house sat for you, I watched Destroy All Monsters, a Godzilla movie, on your television. I watched it because it's a good movie. I used to have the VHS for it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, that movie rules. But yeah, so Godzilla versus King Kong, obviously. In fact, I used to have probably had the VHS at my parents' house somewhere of Godzilla versus King Kong from like the 80s or 70s, whenever they made it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But the other one is Mortal Kombat.
No way.
There's a Mortal Kombat movie coming out, and I hope it's so good. I hope it's good.
It's going to be the worst. Who's in it?
I have no idea. I just know it exists. But like the HBO Max commercial that always airs, you see Scorpion or Sub-Zero maybe, I don't remember, but you see it for like just a second, and I'm like, oh right, they're doing that. I forgot that was happening.
Not gonna watch either of those. Not excited about either of those.
You don't want to watch Mortal Kombat?
No.
That original Mortal Kombat movie is pretty good.
We
talked about it.
We watched a lot when I was a kid. I didn't get it.
You didn't get it?
No, it didn't make sense to me.
That movie doesn't make a lot of sense. You're right. Because there's an episode of this podcast where we talk about Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation in great detail. Mm-hmm. That first movie's legit good, but it is like
very confusing.
It makes no sense because it's like,
that's why as a kid I was bored. I was like, I don't get it.
It's like a tournament, but then at some point it's just like Scorpion attacks Johnny Cage out in the forest for no reason. And it's like, is this part of the tournament or is he just being a jerk? I don't understand. But
I don't get it.
So I'm pretty excited for that Mortal Kombat. I finally watched Spider-Man Far From Home.
Still haven't watched it.
So I won't say too much. Though also,
is that the one where Tom Holland's on vacation in Europe?
Yeah. And Jake Gyllenhaal is in it.
Oh, yeah.
He almost was Spider-Man back in the day.
I knew that.
Back in the Tobey Maguire days.
Yeah, it was between him and Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, and then Tobey Maguire allegedly had a back injury before Spider-Man 2 and was like holding out for more money, and they were talking about like getting Jake Gyllenhaal in for that, just like replace him. But he plays Mysterio. So if you have any idea who Mysterio is,
nope.
You don't? Okay. Well, then I'll say nothing else other than I saw the trailer and saw Mysterio was in it, and I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen in this movie, basically.
Did it happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's super obvious if you know anything about Spider-Man stuff.
I don't.
It's specifically Mysterio.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you give it out of 5?
Probably like a 3, 3.5, that range.
Right.
The Mysterio stuff,
his outfit's ridiculous.
They did like a bunch of weird CGI stuff that I didn't think worked super well, but I thought there's some good stuff in that movie. I enjoyed it overall.
Okay. All right. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Where'd you watch it on?
Vudu. It was on sale, so I bought it.
You bought it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was pretty good. I'd be interested to hear your take on it since you don't know anything about
nothing
who these characters are.
Have I seen the first one? Yeah, I saw the first one.
Yeah, I think we talked about
I haven't
the one
seen
that has
the ones
Michael Keaton.
I have who?
Michael Keaton.
Yes,
he's the Vulture.
Yes, did watch that. I have not seen the Andrew Garfield ones.
Yeah, and you don't need to. They're no good.
Okay.
Maybe. So rumors are that the third Spider-Man with
be like
Thomas Holland,
Spider-Verse one.
It's going to be a Spider-Verse thing. They've supposedly got Andrew Garfield and
Tobey
Tobey Maguire and the guy who played Doc Ock. I forget his name.
Yeah, Molina.
And Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx, who was in Amazing Spider-Man 2, the second Andrew Garfield movie.
Okay, I wouldn't know.
Supposedly they're all on board.
Wow. And so Andrew Molina played Doc Ock in the first Spider-Man? Or was the second?
Second.
With Tobey Maguire.
Yes. The first one was Green Goblin.
Oh, that's right. It was Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, yes.
Willem Dafoe.
He had like a Power Ranger costume, and it was awesome.
Yeah, he did.
Terrible.
Listen. What year did you say the first one came out?
It was like 2001. I know for sure it was post 9/11 because
okay. Were the Twin Towers are in it?
The Twin Towers were in it originally. Like there was like even a trailer where he was swinging between the Twin Towers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was very close. So it may have been it could have even been like early 2002.
2002.
Okay. Early 2002 or summer probably.
Right. It doesn't. May 3rd, 2002.
Okay. So yeah, it's almost halfway through. But yeah, oh man.
So
I'm just thinking about that era of movies, especially because like that Spider-Man movie was like so groundbreaking, it feels like.
Yeah, I agree.
But even before that, I think it was 2000 or 99, that X-Men movie, the first one with Hugh Jackman and all them. That was like, I remember my mind was so blown one day.
Yeah.
I was watching TV and there's like a commercial and it was the senator from the movie.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know who this guy was.
Right.
Like, Senator Kelly, and it was like anti-mutant legislation thing. And I was like, wait, anti-mutant? Like X-Men? I was like, what's going on? And I went to whatever the website was that it showed. I was like, oh my God.
We're getting an
They're
X-Men
making a
movie.
live action X-Men movie. This is the greatest day of my life.
You're like my dad
I
when
was
he
so
watched the
excited.
first. My dad when he said he remembers when he was in the theater watching the first Star Wars movie that came out. He says he remembers sitting there and thinking there will never be another movie greater than this.
He was almost right.
He was almost right.
Empire Strikes Back was better.
But that's, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, X-Men and Spider-Man kind of released the whole genre. It started a whole genre.
20 years later, it's
still
going even bigger now these days.
Even bigger.
It's wild, but it was just crazy just thinking like,
I just remember most from the Spider-Mans. We talked about this. I had both of the soundtracks from the first two Spider-Mans, and that was a big deal. It had like
those soundtracks were big deals,
They
like
were ballin'.
legitimately at the time. Like,
Dashboard Confessional.
If you had that CD, you were like,
I was a cool kid.
like if
I
you
had
were
it.
in a car, it was like,
Put
guess
on the
what I
Spider-Man
got?
soundtrack.
Guess what I got?
Put on that
Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. Let's freaking go.
Dashboard Confessional sang Vindicated. And that was a song that you just like, it's like, you know, kind of a quiet chorus. Perfect now that I am vindicated. I am selfish. I am wrong. I mean, you like jam out there at the chorus. Oh, I love that.
Like we were the perfect age for that.
Totally.
I wonder what the perfect age will be for like younger people. Like what's the thing? Sort of like I like The Simpsons a lot, but realistically, I'm like too young for like prime Simpsons. If you really think about it, that'd be people who are like maybe like 5 to 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the perfect thing is for other people. But yeah,
What else?
Man, we have one more thing. So
I haven't done my
you do
second
your
thing.
one thing. I was just going to tell people, yeah, you know, do your thing, then we'll tell
It's
people.
very short. It's just that John had never seen What We Do in the Shadows.
I also have not seen that.
You have? I thought we watched it.
No.
I love it.
No, I'm
of course,
pathetic.
it's Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement. So does it get any better? No.
Is Brett McKenzie in it?
No. Brett
Is something Barry in it?
I don't know, but Reese Darby's in it.
Oh, that's hard to beat. Yeah, that's
I know.
that's a good group of
Taika
New Zealanders.
Waititi.
Is Tamura Morrison in it?
I don't know. I don't know those ones.
He's the guy who is Boba Fett in Mandalorian.
Oh, I guess he is a New Zealander. Isn't
Yeah, he is. He was like he's Maori as well, just like Taika Waititi.
Yes.
And like he has like Maori warrior training or something. He used it for the show and all that.
I think that he's the voice of somebody in Moana, as is Rachel House, who plays in Hunt for the Wilder People. And because with Moana, they tried to incorporate the whole cast as Pacific Islanders, and New Zealand is a Pacific
Like
island.
The Rock.
Not him. Yes, they did.
He is.
Oh my
He's
God,
literally
yes,
like
how
that big
did
guy.
Yes, and he's Polynesian.
He's Samoan.
Oh, Samoan. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you.
He's half Samoan, half black.
Yes.
I was just gonna say because you reminded me of it. He said he watched that with his daughter, and he sang along with the part where he sings his character.
Yeah.
And his daughter got mad at him and was like, "You're ruining the movie."
Dad, shut up. It's like I'm the one who
That's
sang
me.
it.
I'm the guy. That's literally me.
Who did you say?
Tamura Morrison?
Yes, he is. He plays Moana's dad.
Yeah, cool.
And yes, Rachel House. She plays in Hunt for the Wilder People. She plays Moana's grandma. And Hunt for the Wilder People was that movie I love so much, directed by Taika Waititi,
Yeah, he's
who
pretty
I
cool.
do not think is in Moana. But same thing with Lin-Manuel Miranda. His heritage is part Pacific Islander. Do you know that?
I did not. I knew he wasn't regular European. I guess I say regular like that's.
But Alec Tudyk is in it.
He's
as well.
a very white person.
But I don't think he's Pacific Islander. But they tried to incorporate majority of the cast as Pacific Islanders, which I thought was awesome. And I had no idea that Jermaine Clement. I was like, wait, why is he in it? He's not Pacific Islander. He plays the crab. You know.
I haven't seen Moana.
What is wrong with you?
I guess I could now. It's
on Disney. Yes. But I was like, wait, why is Jermaine Clement on there? He's from New Zealand. And I Googled, I got myself educated in that New Zealand is considered Pacific Island.
I mean, it is in the
It
Pacific
is a
Islands.
Pacific Island. It's
would've-
actually 2 Pacific Islands.
Yeah, I would have considered. I mean, that's like saying I don't know because he's white though, right? He seems white.
Jamaican.
White people live.
He's part Maori.
Oh, is he really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, he's very funny. He's very
So
good and stuff.
funny.
He's in
so dry. I love his
You
humor.
want to know a weird show he's in?
Tell me.
Legion. Did you ever watch Legion? Nobody watched Legion.
I did, and I liked it.
Did you? You were the only other person who watched Legion.
I thought it was great.
You and me are the only people who've watched it.
What was his name? He played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast. Dan.
Beauty and the Beast.
The live action one. Dan
Aykroyd.
Matthew? Not Dave Matthews.
Dave.
Dan Stevens. And Aubrey Plaza was in it. She was so weird.
What is... Oh, yeah. Legion, yeah. And Aubrey Plaza was very weird in it.
Yeah, she was.
She's a very weird person in general, I think.
I love her. But yeah,
she is a delight.
I think Legion only got like 2 seasons.
It did.
I thought it was so good.
You and me are the only...
It's part of it, X-Men, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you and me are the only people who ever saw it.
I thought it was great. I was really sad.
It was good. It was very good. But it's not surprising. But
it says there's 3 seasons.
Oh, is it?
But Jamaica was really weird on there.
Yeah. Even for him.
Yeah, even for him. Okay,
yeah.
what else? Do you have anything else? Because I have one more thing.
Yeah. What do you got?
I was just gonna say I restarted the Outlander series, the books, not the show.
Is that the one where the lady goes back in time and does a lot of sex?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Is that why you decided to get back into it? You're like,
no.
I wish I were this lady.
I think
I
probably.
want to hang out with all these sexy big boys, these big beefy boys doing sex to me. Is that what you want?
I think you probably know why I'm reading it. And it's because it takes place in Scotland.
Oh.
And I'm in love with Scotland.
This is why you should get into wrestling. You know who
No.
We'll see after tonight. The current WWE champion is Drew McIntyre. He is a Scottish boy.
Well, good for him.
He's a Scottish big beefy boy. I think you would be a fan.
I might be.
Let's find out.
Okay,
I'm going to find a picture of him in his Speedo.
Ooh. But I you know me, I love all things period drama stuff, except unpopular opinion, I watched the first episode of Bridgerton and I will not be continuing. It is Netflix's...
Is that a Shonda Rhimes joint?
Yes.
I'm not on board
but
with
I love
her
period stuff. I love period dramas. I love period stuff.
Do you like Grey's Anatomy?
I hate it.
Okay, well, she did that.
Yeah.
So, like, what? That's like, I don't know, if Chuck Lorre, who did 2.5 Men,
but wait,
if he did, like, I'm going to do a Star Wars movie, it's like, I'm not on board.
Yeah.
I don't think the things you do are good.
Yeah, I don't.
Even though I love Star Wars, I don't want you anywhere near it.
But it's the highest grossing Netflix series of all time, and I'm
grossing. How does that make sense? They don't make any money.
Or not.
Look at that guy.
Oh my God, he's huge.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of him.
You're not a fan?
That's gross. That's not attractive.
You don't like big beefy boys with
long,
hairy chests,
gross
and
hair.
Stuff.
That's not a good look. I don't like. I would love his voice, but
he has a nice voice.
I bet he does.
I'll be honest. It's a pretty good voice. Good old Drew McIntyre. I like listening to him cut a promo, baby. Let me tell you. Cut a promo. That's what they say.
But no, I don't. I will not be continuing Bridgerton. No, not highest grossing. What's the highest downloaded? It's most downloaded.
What about when he was younger? Look how hairless he is. It's weird. How weird is that?
I don't like it.
Young Drew McIntyre's weird looking because he doesn't have a beard
and he doesn't have the long dark hair
or the all the chest and belly hair.
No, so I've actually skipped over the first book because I still remember everything that happened. So I'm on the second book now, audiobook that is, of course,
of Outlander.
The Outlander series
where she goes back in time and has sex with Drew McIntyre looking people.
She definitely does not.
Look at that guy.
He's not my cup of tea. I'm sure I'd love his voice. He might be a great
What's
wrestler.
Your cup of tea? You want like a fat guy? I can find a fat guy wrestler.
No, you wanna see.
I can get you a fat guy Irish wrestler. Hold on.
No,
I can do it. I can do it.
Let me show you what her little husband looks like in the series. Now that'll give you an idea of what I'm into. Oh yeah, redhead. I'm all about that.
You're not into this guy?
No, I think I'm good.
It's a picture of Killian Dane. You can all look it up.
Is he Irish?
He is Irish for realsies.
Yeah.
He's married to a Scottish lady named Nikki Cross.
Their kids will have the best accents.
Or be the hairiest people on earth. He's a very hairy man.
This is what I'm into. That's the main character in the Outlander series, like the show. That's her man.
Tell people his name so that they can Google it while
Jamie Fraser. That's his name in the show. Played by Sam Heughan, and it's spelled Heughan.
I don't like it.
Heughan.
I'm pretty sure.
He's a beautiful man.
How about this? If you had to choose between Drew McIntyre or Killian Dane. McIntyre?
Yeah.
Okay, let me find another Irish guy for you real quick.
This is a audio medium, not as fun for the...
It's Finn Balor. You don't know what he looks like, but I'm about to show you.
Okay.
Other people can Google him while I'm talking.
Okay.
It's fine.
There they are together in the series. Claire and Jamie.
Finn Balor. How do you feel about that guy?
He looks kind of like a pretty boy.
Yeah.
He's not
feeling him?
He's okay. He's not ugly.
Okay.
What?
I'm just.
Wait, is he Scottish or Irish?
He is Irish.
Okay.
His real life name is Fergal Devitt.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
But his fake name is Finn Balor because Finn
kind of rolls off the tongue a little better than
it
Fergal,
rolls off the tongue, but it's also based in Irish mythology.
Oh, tell me.
Finn McCool was like a hero of Irish stuff, and Balor was the demon king. So it's like this dichotomy of the hero and the demon. So like also sometimes he dresses up as like looking like a demon.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Finn Balor.
Not a good look for him.
Oh, you know what? There's another wrestler who is Irish. His name is Sheamus.
Of course.
I don't know if that's his real life name, but you know.
Is it the guy I see so much about? The Irish guy I see so much about?
He is very, very white and has red hair.
Let me see.
So
I'm into that.
It does seem like what you're into. Hey, there's a picture of him. He doesn't have the mohawk anymore.
He is, I dare say, paler than I am.
He's like
see-through.
Look at that. His skin's like the color of mayonnaise.
You made me wheezy laugh.
Yeah,
he's
a very white man.
He's a pale man with some orange hair.
It's very red hair. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What? Okay. We need to quit looking at foreign wrestlers. What else do you have?
I guess we both watched WandaVision.
Yes.
How much time do we have?
We
may need. Maybe we'll save.
We could talk about it real quick.
Well, yeah, we'll maybe save like a deeper dive for later.
Yeah.
Because we got distracted.
Yeah, we did. Looking at Irish and Scottish wrestlers.
Yeah. Who was your favorite wrestler?
Of all those?
Of all of those. There was Finn Balor. You said looked like a pretty boy. Yeah. Killian Dane was very, very hairy and kind of fat. Drew McIntyre was hairy, long hair, bearded boy.
Probably demon guy, red hair guy. The first guy you showed me, and then the second guy you showed me.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
You like Sheamus more than Drew McIntyre?
He needs to be his hair needs to be a little darker, and his skin also needs to be just a little darker.
Sheamus, yeah, his skin is ridiculous. I don't understand what that is.
I like a darker red hair, not orange.
Yeah, he maybe dyes that a bit. I'm not sure.
I'm sure that's natural.
Because I don't know.
Anyway.
I know Becky Lynch, who is also an Irish wrestler, but a lady. Yeah. She has red hair that is like that color, but it did not used to be that color. So it's very clearly dyed.
Becky what?
Becky Lynch.
Okay. She the one that just had a baby?
Yeah, pretty recently.
Okay.
But yeah. So we watched WandaVision. That has a redhead lady.
It does.
How do you feel about it so far? We'll just say spoilers in case.
Yeah, just in
case you haven't watched it. We're just going to say 4 episodes in.
Yeah.
We maybe spoil stuff.
I don't know.
So we'll find out when we talk.
First 2 episodes, I was like, I'm not on board with this. I don't get it.
See, that was probably like where I was the most on board. Because it's straight up like a perfect homage to those sitcoms of that era.
Yeah, and I don't like that. So I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why? And it's so cheesy, and I was like, this is painful. This is so awkward and painful.
There was like weird stuff that was like,
right.
Even not.
But she was like, no.
Yeah, with the beekeeper thing.
Vision,
yes,
help him.
With that part,
and
especially, I was like,
that's why I was like, wait, what?
Because it almost seemed like they were just gonna let that guy die. It was very strange.
Yeah.
So there was like these nuggets of like extra weirdness,
and that's how I knew there's something else happening.
Yeah, definitely.
And but no, I just. You know how first
was episode 3 the one where you're like, okay,
maybe I can stick around. And episode 4, I was like, okay, now we're getting into the nuts and bolts.
Episode 4, I was kind of disappointed.
It was just kind of explaining things.
It almost explained it too far without even actually explaining it. I'll say best thing of episode 4 to me was when the people came back.
Yeah,
because they they were coming back from being dusted from Infinity War.
Oh, yeah. And when that started happening, I was like, what's happening? I was like, oh my God, they're all coming back.
Yeah. So it's like you're seeing the
From
fallout
the snap.
of...
They came back from the snap.
Yeah. As they call it, the blip.
Yeah, they call it
Which
the
you can
blip.
see more of in Spider-Man Far From Home. You can see the effects of that and how those people deal with it to some extent.
Okay, cool.
But so I watched Spider-Man Far From Home, and then I watched that episode, and I was like, it's kind of cool to see like how chaotic it is, because it's like all those people who just disappeared suddenly reappearing.
Yeah,
this is very interesting. But that episode, I missed having the weird bizarro sitcom stuff.
Yeah, I think there will be more. There's definitely
going to be more.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, I just wish maybe they had like...
No, I think they needed to
structured it differently though.
I needed to know more. I'm glad they did it.
I don't know. Maybe they could have like structured it differently to have like half the episode be the sitcom stuff, and then like the other half is like some of the outside explanation stuff. Maybe they could have like...
No, I liked it.
Like doled that out differently. I don't know.
I did have to Google what sword was though.
Yeah, it's basically
it's a department shield.
A different shield. Yeah.
It's
sword and shield.
Well, it's a
just like the Pokemon game.
It's like an office of shield.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Except like I guess in this version it would have to be its own separate thing, because like Shield is dead.
Okay.
If you remember Captain America: Winter Soldier, where Shield basically collapsed because it turned out a lot of it was full of
Hydra.
Yeah, basically full of Nazis. Yeah.
No, I thought it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
It makes me intrigued to see the other episodes and to know. It was so sad when Vision was like, "We don't have to live like this. You know, this isn't how it has to be." And she's like, "Yes, it does." And she like hitched the smile on, you know.
Yeah.
So clearly, it's Wanda dealing post, and you saw the vision of Vision
where
being destroyed.
Like,
yeah, with the gray face and the gray eyes, and he's like, "What's wrong?" And that's like, I mean, she had to see that. So clearly, she is not mentally coping well, and that's all her doing that. Explain that, it's her doing that.
Yeah. I've seen some theories that it could be Mephisto, who is basically the devil from Marvel.
Oh, do you think it's
like he could be involved somehow?
Catherine, what's her face?
Catherine Hahn?
Yeah, do you think that's it? She's involved somehow.
Oh gosh. I saw something that was like, so there's the part where they're like putting together like who these people are in real life.
Right. They never mentioned
Catherine
her.
Hahn isn't on there, and somebody else isn't on there. Maybe the neighbor guy. I don't remember.
No, he
sure.
was. He was on
he
there.
was on there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Herb.
There was somebody. Oh, it was her, and also the fact that like her husband isn't on there. We don't know who her husband is.
Yeah, we never met her husband.
Who is Catherine Hahn's husband? Is he going to be an important figure?
I don't know. Maybe.
Also, she needs to be in more things.
She's awesome.
She's fantastic in everything
funny.
she's ever
she's
been
really
in.
Funny.
Yeah,
Was
she's
she
like
on SNL. She do SNL?
I don't know. I know she was like one of the better characters on Parks and Rec. She was the whatever you call her, the like.
She was the Leslie Knope of. No, she wasn't. She was the
wasn't
lawyer lady
was,
or whatever. Oh,
the political person.
Yeah.
Promoter. I don't know. I'm
That's
trying
the
to
word
think
I'm
what the
looking
name.
for.
Yeah. She like helped people do political stuff.
Bobby Newport.
Yeah, she was very funny on that.
She was good.
She should be in more stuff.
Yeah.
That's my theory. But yeah, like she never shows up on that board apparently.
No, she doesn't.
Which is kind of interesting.
But most everybody else does.
Yeah.
That we've seen.
So I'm interested to see if that seems important, or else she would have been there.
Agreed.
And also the fact that we don't know who her husband is. We never see him.
Or her husband.
She just talks about him. So is it going to be like she doesn't have one, or is it Mephisto, the Marvel devil? Who's to say?
Interesting.
So I'm also. How do you feel about this? The weekly release.
I hate it.
You hate it.
I want to be able to binge watch it all at one time.
There's
that
something,
keeps people coming back to it.
There's something to having to wait that I'm actually like almost enjoying. Like I was having that with like Mandalorian, where it's like, it's Friday, new Mandalorian, gonna check it out.
I waited till it was all done.
I think it helps when it's only like 8 episodes. If it were something
how many episodes is this one?
This is like 8 episodes.
Oh, okay.
So we're halfway through.
Yeah, if it was like Lost, where there's like 20 episodes in a season.
Yeah, and you have to wait a week, and it's like, what even happened?
I would be devastated.
Or like Walking Dead, when that's like 20-something episodes, and it's like, here's only half the season.
Yeah, no.
Now we go on a mid-season break, and then you get to watch that, and then it's the full season break, and it's like, ah. And also, like, a lot of times nothing happens in Walking Dead.
No.
That's a show that has to be binged.
But I don't.
When you cut it down to only like 8 episodes, I think the weekly
tolerable.
I think it works.
Yeah.
it makes it more of an event as well.
True. Yeah. Be like Friday night, let's come home and watch WandaVision.
Yeah. Like, and if you followed, like, when I was following the Star Wars stuff, especially Mandalorian, is like the first episode, the second episode, the third episode comes out, and it's like everybody's talking about like the third episode and what does this mean? What is this? Where's it going? And all this, and it's kind of made for a fun time. Yeah. And this is kind of doing the same thing. Agreed. So as long as it's 8 episodes and the story is going somewhere and not just meandering about like, say, Lost or Walking Dead sometimes did, it's fine as a weekly release, I think.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
That's all I got.
Let's get out of here.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by, hanging out with us, putting us in your ears, taking us along with you. We appreciate every second you spend with us. You can catch us on Facebook at Paint the Town Dead. You can catch us on Instagram, Paint the Town Dead, all one word. You can catch us on Twitter at PTTDpod, and feel free to email us at pttdpod@gmail.com. We release episodes every Tuesday unless I'm sick or Andrew's sick,
It's never been my fault, first of all.
I miss a plane.
Caitlin's trying to slander my good name.
I just said unless. I'm just helping you out for future in case it ever happens.
I've never been sick in my life.
Okay. And we release episodes every Tuesday. You can catch us on pretty much any streaming platform service. If we're not on there, please let us know. Please feel free. Help us. Please subscribe on everything you can. Like everything we do. Rate everything 5 stars. Comment, share. Anything you do helps us out, and we super appreciate it.
Go to boyscouts.com/paintthetownedead. That's our referral code for our sponsorship.
That's a lie. Disclaimer. But guys, again, thank you so much for coming by, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.